It is Mother's Day 2011, and you could not ask for a more perfect day to celebrate Mom and bring her to the ballpark. Just perfect. Sunny, 70 degrees, a little breeze blowing, battling breast cancer and celebrating the mothers. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Los Angeles Dodgers. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and a very happy Mother's Day, too. And welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez joins me in just a moment, and Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner as well a little later on. The Mets play the Dodgers looking for a sweep of the three-game series and their fourth straight win. News, however, on the injury front for the Mets. Chris Young, who could not take the start last night, goes on the disabled list today with tightness in the back of his right shoulder. And for the very talented Chris Young, who's pitched so well when available this year, this is his seventh trip to the disabled list in the last 5 seasons, and it pretty much mirrors the way things have gone for Chris Young throughout his career.
Well, it's always been his shoulder, his elbow, and this is an important man on this ball club. This is a starting pitching staff that he's so valuable. He's been the best starting pitcher when he's been out there, so he's going to be sorely missed.
Pat Mish comes up from Buffalo to take his spot on the 25-man roster. He'll be available in the bullpen today. The Mets have played wonderfully, especially offensively, over the last couple of days to take the first 2 games of this series from the Dodgers, and it's been the lesser lights. Jason Friday has had a huge series, hit the 3-run homer to give the Mets the lead on Friday night. Third time they came back in that game, and Francisco Rodriguez, pitching after a 42-pitch effort the day before, got the save. Then last night, Friday was right in the middle of it again. 3 more hits, and then in the climactic 8th inning with the game tied, a big bunt forcing the error by Hong-Chi Kuo and setting the stage for Justin Turner, his first at bat in 4 days, and he delivers the single off the glove of Matt Kemp to drive in 2 runs to give the Mets a 4-2 lead. And then K-Rod came in again for the 3rd straight day, and Rodriguez notched his 3rd save in 3 days and gave the Mets their 2nd win in the series against the Dodgers, and now they'll go for the sweep this afternoon. And it has been the guys on the fringes of the roster who have made a big difference.
Well, it's like the mice that roared, the guys that didn't go north with this ball club. And you can throw in Mike O'Connor, who made his debut out of the bullpen, and he did a spotless 2/3 of inning of work. So it takes, and it's cliche, I always say it, but it takes 25 to win. So the best plans of mice and men. Well, these were guys that weren't part of the team, and now they're here, and they're contributing, and this is why they're going for the sweep today.
And they'll have R.A. Dickey on the mound. It's not been the best of seasons for Dickey so far.
Well, he's coming off a tough start. His last time out, he gave up 6 runs, and he didn't have his knuckleball. I've talked about how I think he's throwing too much of the hard one. He needs to start throwing the softer one, I feel, and then mix in more sparingly, the hard one to fool the hitters.
And the Mets will go up against a very talented young left-hander, the Dodgers opening day starter, Clayton Kershaw.
Well, throws 95 miles an hour, has a big hook. They say that he's been getting hit. He's given up home runs to the right-hand hitters because he was wild when he first came up. Now he's honed his control. He's throwing the ball too much over the plate, and players are getting more comfortable off him.
So a Mother's Day game at Citi Field. Dickey against Kershaw. Mets going for the sweep of the Dodgers. All the action on SNY. By IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Tropicana single-serve juices available at Duane Reade. By Brooklyn Burger, the premium steakhouse burger and the official burger of the New York Mets. By BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And by AT&T, rethink possible. Hitting the road, take the Mets with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Mets game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Mother's Day at Citi Field. Conditions couldn't be nicer, and the Mets are trying to get hot. 3 straight wins, going for 4 today. First pitch coming right up. Game day ticket package includes a 1-hour happy hour, a complimentary appetizer, and a post-game drink coupon. Get to Mets.com for your tickets now. Here's the Dodgers starting lineup for this afternoon. Dodgers have been struggling. They've lost 4 in a row. They've got the 2 guys hot in the middle of the order, Ethier and Kemp, although Ethier's 30-game hitting streak came to an end last night. The 4th straight player to reach 30, unable to get to 31. And R.A. Dickey makes his 7th start of the year.
Well, R.A. coming off his worst start of the year last time out. He gave up 6 runs in 6 innings. His walks are much better now. We were very alarmed early in the season. With 16 walks now in the 39 innings is much more improved. But the batting averages, the guy's been kind of teeing off on him. And the defense brought to you by Lexus, and that is your Metropolitan defense. Your one and only Metropolitan defense. And how about this? Paulino never caught a knuckleballer, and he warmed up Dickey today in the bullpen, which I think was an excellent idea. And Turner gets rewarded with his pinch hit game winner yesterday. Should have been a double, but it was a single, but it was still a game winner. And we talked about Pridey in center field. Boy, what a job he's done. He's got his average up to 300.
Well, Dickey just threw his first warm-up pitch from the mound, and Paulino didn't catch it. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, the Mets have already had a plethora of pass balls, 5 of them this year in 39 innings with Dickey on the mound. Last year they had only 7 in 174 innings with Dickey on the mound. So either his ball is moving more, or Tolle is just in a bit of a catching slump, or something. But it's never going to be easy to catch a knuckleballer, especially first time around, the way it will be today for Paulino.
Well, you can only anticipate how it's going to break, because it never breaks the same way twice in succession. Sometimes it floats, sometimes it moves left, sometimes it moves right.
And you see Paulino has that kind of sideways stance the same way that Josh Tolle does, to try and, I guess, adjust better to that knuckleball as it moves.
Or get that that dominant eye out there to follow, to track the ball. So we'll see which way it goes. Mets going for a sweepie.
All right, Dickey got his only win of the season in his first start back on the 3rd of April. 0-3, 5.63 in his 5 starts since then. Jamie Carroll will lead things off for the Dodgers. He's 4 for 7 in this series. Carroll had lead off in the opening game, hit 8th last night, and back in the leadoff spot today. It'll be Carroll, then Aaron Miles, and Andre Ethier for the Dodgers, who've scored just 7 runs during their 4-game losing streak with only 5 extra base hits. And on a bright and sunny Mother's Day afternoon, Dickey throws the first pitch, and it's a fastball down the middle for a strike. Surprise value.
Well, Dickey's one. If he doesn't have his knuckleball early, he'll throw his fastball.
And it's 0-2 to Carroll, but you wouldn't expect, even with runners on base, for him to make any accommodations for Paulino, would you? And throw more fastballs?
No, definitely not. He's got his knuckleball working. The only time I think he would get a little anxiety is if it's a tight ball game, the runner on third base, or a runner can advance into scoring position with a pass ball, wild pitch.
Second base umpire.
Oh, they want the
Ed Rapuano calling attention to the fact that the apple was up in center field.
Yeah, they're lowering the apple right now. There it goes.
Come on, Apple. Get down. Get down.
You know, it's not your close-up here. Let's go.
You got to wait for the right moment.
He's a ham actor.
We hope to see you later. Off the plate, and it's 1-2 to Carroll.
I'm staging everybody.
You know, it is the Big Apple, and that big red representation took it seriously. 2-2. It's amazing how much bigger that apple is than the old one.
Yes.
Which sits out in front of Citi Field now.
It's much better. It's encased and it's home there. It's much better looking.
And Carroll pokes the knuckleball into center field, and he's got himself a leadoff hit. Well, Carroll now 5 for 8 in the series, and leadoff base runner for the Dodgers.
Well, watch this knuckleball. Doesn't do much, does it? That's the key. You got to stay back. Never try to hit a home run on a knuckleball. There's certain power hitters that might. But these little pesky hitters right here in the front of the Dodger order, Carroll and Miles, they've got their job to get on base.
Well, Ralph Kiner will join us in a little while, and Ralph has always said the best lineup against a knuckleballer is 9 pitchers. But I guess the next best thing is having pesky guys like Carroll and Miles, veteran players who don't put a big swing on it.
You know, we've had a chance to watch this Dodger lineup, this Dodger team, first 2 games.
And Miles trying to push a bunt toward David Wright.
They got some injuries. Furcal's a big loss for them at shortstop. But if you look down this lineup with Loney and Uribe just woefully in slumps. You know, the only 2 guys you got to worry about in this lineup are Ethier and Kemp.
Yeah, having Furcal out is big for the Dodgers, and that's really reflected in their record with him in and out of the lineup since he joined LA. Furcal broke his thumb a week into the season. The Dodgers are 28 games over 500 with Furcal and right at 500 without him, and half a run down when he's away.
Is Dodger skipper Don Mattingly.
If he could put himself in the lineup, they'd be in better shape.
Don's very good at hiding behind that post. He's like Artie Johnson and laughing.
Very interesting.
There he is.
See, we have all the angles.
That man could hit and play first base.
1-1 to Miles, and the knuckleball misses away. 2-1. Miles, I thought, might bat right-handed today. He's got extraordinary numbers this year as a right-hand hitter. not so good left-handed, and a lot of switch hitters will go up there right-handed against a knuckleballer. Andre Ethier on deck.
He can relax now, Ethier. The pressure's off.
And Miles bounces one down to Ike Davis. He cuts down the angle by charging, but settles for the out at first. And Carroll takes second base.
Well, Ike had the intention of getting the lead runner. He comes hard after it. I think he just wasn't sure he had it. Always want to get the lead runner if you can. He's got him. He's got him. It's whether he can get it out of his glove. He had him.
Now, rather than take a chance, Ike settles for the shore out, and now Carroll's in scoring position with one away. And Andre Ethier coming up. I thought some of the comments from Ethier were interesting after the game last night because, you know, unique among these long streaks, it seems, the Dodgers have been losing every day while Ethier was on that 30-game hitting streak. And I think he was very uncomfortable with the fact that he had to talk about his successes day after day while things were going poorly for the team.
Well, it's always easier when you have individual goals when your team is playing well, or you're in the hunt for in a stretch run, and you're vying for a division or a playoff spot. But when you're kind of out of it, and then it's all becomes individualistic, then those things put more pressure on you. When you think in terms of the team, how I can help my 25 players, it takes away all of the pressure. Pressure doesn't really come into your vocabulary.
Ethier was more broken up about the fact that his last at bat yesterday against the left-hander with the go-ahead run at first base, he swung at a pitch about a foot and a half out of the strike zone and struck out, and that was the at bat that ended the streak. Swing and a miss, and so Dickey goes upstairs with the knuckleball to strike out Ethier for the second out.
Well, that's the hard one he threw right there. And you see, that's a fastball. How about that? Surprise attack. Turned his flank.
So 2 out. Carroll still at second. Now Matt Kemp, 2 for 8 in this series. 6th in the National League with that .346 batting average.
And this has been the reason why the Mets have won the first 2 games. They've contained Matt Kemp.
And Kemp, one of the select players. We're using the pink bats today on Mother's Day.
Now, is that mandatory?
No. Certain players, if they want to, got a supply of pink bats just for the occasion to symbolize the fight against breast cancer. Beautiful play by Justin Turner, laying out and throwing out Kemp to end the inning. But Justin Turner, hero with the bat last night. Nice play with the glove to help Dickey get through the first inning without a run scoring. Dickey does that seemingly every start. Lineup for it today, and for the first time in 22 games, no Carlos Beltran. He gets the day off today. Ronnie Polino slides into the 5-hole, and Scott Hairston gets the start in right field in place of Beltran as Clayton Kershaw gets the first pitch over for a strike.
Well, 29 and 26 lifetime with a 3.19 earned run average and 90 starts.
Just 23 years old and already in his 4th year in the Dodgers rotation, and he was their opening day starter this year. Their youngest opening day starter since Fernando Valenzuela nearly 30 years ago. Ahead on Reyes 0-2. And Jose fouls off the curveball. That curveball, one of the best in baseball from a left-hander.
And we'll take a look at the Coors Light Dodger defense. Gold Glove out there in center field. With the outfield assists, most in the National League. Loney can play a little bit of first base over there. He's not hitting, but he's a good glove.
Reyes is 5 for 9 in this series, now 8th in the National League in batting at .329, on base percentage up to .378.
That of all the shortstops in Major League Baseball, Reyes leads in hits, extra base hits, runs scored, stolen bases, second in batting average, slugging percentage. It's just and on base percentage. What a year.
Last night Reyes had 2 hits, but he also had 2 base running mistakes. Got picked off first base by Leonardo Navarro when he just kind of strolled back into the bag, and then tried to go from second to third on a ground ball in front of him and was tagged out. But other than that, you can't find much fault in anything that Reyes has done this year. And he hits a slow ground ball, and it'll stay foul.
His glove has been sparkling. You all notice the offensive numbers because they're just so outstanding and off the charts with Jose. But his glove, he has been sparkling in the field.
Justin Turner on deck, and then David Wright here in the opening inning. Mets have faced Kershaw 3 times before. He's 2-0 against them, and the last 2 starts the Mets haven't scored a single run against Kershaw. 14 innings of shutout ball. That's how good he can be. And the fastball grounded weakly out to Miles at second. And the quick toss to get Reyes one away.
Well, if you're going to get the good hitters, you got to get them inside, particularly when it's 2 strikes. And came inside and jammed them.
Justin Turner's been up with the Mets for about 3 weeks. And he had his biggest moment as a Met last night. Bases loaded, bottom of the 8th. Hadn't had an at-bat since Tuesday. And hit a long fly ball that just eluded Matt Kemp in center field and fell for 2 runs. But for some odd base running by Ronnie Polino in front of him, he probably would have had a double and maybe even 3 RBIs on that play. But nonetheless, a big moment for Turner, making his 5th start today.
Very unassuming, quiet kid. Sometimes you wouldn't even notice he's around, and he just quietly goes about his business and gets the job done. He's done a terrific job.
His red hair stands out in the clubhouse.
Well, yes, that's true.
And Kershaw pours over a fastball, 2-1. So Turner getting a chance to play against the lefty. Daniel Murphy has been struggling at the plate for the last few days. Murphy continues to make plays defensively. We saw Turner make a fine one in the first inning today. And so I think you'd have to say that with all the question marks about second base going into spring training, that things have solidified a little bit over the last few weeks since the Mets let Brad Emus go in the dirt, and it's 3-2 to Turner. Right now, it's pretty much a strict platoon between Turner and Murphy. Chinlungu got 1 start on this homestand. And Kershaw misses wide, ball 4, and so Turner's on with a 1-out walk. Empty turn at bat for Turner to give the Mets their first base runner. Watched his pitchers walk 5 last night, including a key walk to Polino in the Mets game-winning rally. Now David Wright with a runner aboard. David 1 for 6 in this series and lifetime hitting .401 against the Dodgers. Best for any active player against any team against whom he's had at least 150 at bats.
David hitting .321 with a home run against lefties. He's been a little bit stutter spell right now. Can't say he's in a slump. Can't say, he can certainly say he's not red hot. Last 10 games hitting around .243.
He continues to draw his walks. He's in the top 5 in the league in walks, despite the relatively low batting average. And Kershaw again falls behind 2-0. You see the career numbers for David against the Dodgers.
How about that set there, that stretch? Take another look at that.
It is a real, true stretch.
Wow.
Getting a lot of good muscle stretching going when he brings those arms all the way over his head.
Look at this. Really? Raise your hand if you're sure.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. And a fastball strike, 3-1. And this is something new for Kershaw. We've seen him before, and he's never made that stretch in quite that fashion. Grew up in a suburb of Dallas.
23 years old and already 2 years in the big leagues. Almost 3 years in the big leagues.
And a back-to-back walks issued by Kershaw, and the Mets have 2 men on. So Kershaw, who had averaged only 3 walks per 9 innings over his first 7 starts, gets a little base on balls trouble in the first inning, and Jason Bay will have a crack at him with 2 on. Rick Honeycutt, the Dodger pitching coach, taking note. The Dodgers, who traditionally have such fine pitching, have struggled in that department this year overall, just 12th in the National League in team ERA. Their bullpen has been a major culprit.
Rick Honeycutt, of course, Texas Ranger left-handed starter. There he is. He's notorious for cutting the ball. I had a little chat with him last night before I threw out the first pitch. He says, anybody cut the ball anymore? He goes, are you kidding? He goes, you haven't got a chance. The ball hits the dirt, they get a new one in there. But ever since he took over the helm as pitching coach of the Dodgers, they've had, what is it, 2006, I believe, they've had the best ERA in baseball. Good guy, a competitor. Hard sinker, slider, straight away in the infield.
0-1 to Bay, who has been the lucky charm for the Mets so far this year. They're 5-15 without him in the lineup, 10-3 with him in. And you see the difference in terms of runs per game, both last year and this year.
Bay having much more success against left-handers early than right-handers.
385 against the lefties, and he takes the breaking ball high, and it's 2-1.
I think what's going on here, I'll hear a lot of teams come in this ballpark and they forget one thing. This is a pitcher's park. It's big. And the National League West hasn't got a lot of barn-burning lineups in it. They're probably the best hitting team in the National League West is Colorado. There's a lot of teams that don't have a lot of good lineups. And the Mets have a good lineup. And, you know, you've got the middle of this lineup from the top, or starting with Reyes, down through Ike Davis. You've got to work.
Well, over the 2.5 weeks since Bay has been back from the oblique injury, they have really picked it up offensively. The Mets are now 4th in the league in on-base percentage and 5th in slugging percentage. So they've been tearing it up. On the outside corner, Bay didn't think so, but he's rung up by Alfonso Marquez, and that's the second out.
Just watch the catcher's glove. It's always a giveaway. Oh, that's right there. Look, he just framed it nicely. Let's see. Yeah, that's got the block. Pitcher's pitch.
Delta keep climbing overhead cam, giving us a good look. And Kershaw has his first strikeout. He's averaging nearly a strikeout per inning this year, 8th in the league in strikeouts.
His big improvement has been in his walks, 15 and 45 and a third.
Trying to work around a couple of walks in this inning as Ronnie Paulino hits 5th in the order today, his 4th start since joining the Mets. And he drives one into left center for a base hit. That'll chase home Turner with the game's first run. Wright goes to 3rd. Ronnie Paulino, first pitch swinging, drives in the first run of the day, and it's 1-0 New York. What a boost Ronnie Paulino has given this team.
Well, Paulino is an inside-out hitter, and this is a hanging breaking ball that allows him to get his bat to catch up to it. It's an off-speed breaking ball hanging. Paulino drives the ball to right center field 8 out of 10 times. And that's going to score the lead runner easily. And that's Turner. And nicely done by David Wright, easily advancing 3rd.
So Paulino has his 2nd RBI. He's now 8 for 16 as a Met. And now Ike Davis 1 for 6 in this series. One was a home run on Friday night. 1st and 3rd and 2 out. So the Mets score against Kershaw. Something they did not do the last 2 starts he made against them.
For the Mets to be 4th in on-base percentage, they sure go up there hacking a lot of first pitches too. And Ike right there, Paulino before him. Ike can't get untracked against the left-hander. He's on the interstate hitting 175 against the lefties. But he's had good at bats.
He has. The numbers are not nearly as good as they were last year. And the 95-mile-an-hour fastball against Kershaw in front of him too.
And that's a spot where you got to pitch Ike. I think only lefties. Ike's a little bit blind right now. Up and away fastball. Those are 2 fastballs on the outside part of the plate. Around letter high. He swings under it right now.
See, all of his home runs have come against right-handers. Last year he got on track very quickly against the lefties. Remember the 2 he hit off Jonathan Sanchez about 2-3 weeks into his major league career. And it's right down the middle, strike 3 called. So Kershaw gets him looking. 2nd strikeout in the inning, but the Mets strike first on Paulino's 2-out hit. Take a 1-0 lead into the 2nd. Brought to you by Brooklyn Burger, the premium steakhouse burger and the official burger of the New York Mets. Be sure to visit Keith's Grill at Citi Field, located on the field level behind section 132, to enjoy Keith's favorite Brooklyn burgers.
I tell you what, it's quality meat, and give them my seal of approval.
Did you like the sound effects with the sizzle?
Yes.
That was outstanding. All right, Dickey misses low and away to Juan Uribe as we start the 2nd inning. Mets with a 1-0 lead. It's been a miserable series for Uribe. 0 for 10, 6 strikeouts, including his last 4 at-bats last night. The dreaded golden sombrero.
Well, it hasn't been from lack of swinging. He doesn't get cheated. He takes a rip.
That's got him out all night long last night with high fastballs. Dickey throws the knuckler away, and it's 2-1. James Loney and Jerry Sands to follow Uribe here in the second. You would think after enough swings and misses that you'd shorten up at least a little bit.
Well, maybe you only know one way, huh?
Yeah, it's worked for him. He had a big year with the Giants last year.
On top of the plate.
And he swings and misses at the knuckler. And Dickey has his second strikeout.
7th strikeout of the series.
And 5 in a row.
So what do you call that?
Ooh, how that thing moved. I think 5 is platinum, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a very good year.
I don't think it counts, though, if it's across 2 games. Don't want to get too down on the guy. Here's James Loney. Loney has not been swinging the bat well, but he is 3 for 7 in this series. But he's looked off balance through the entirety of these 2 games.
He's looked very mechanical up there. No continuity.
He's had just 2 extra base hits and 124 at bats this year. Jerry Sands, the rookie left fielder, waiting on deck. Loney and Ethier and Kemp were all part of the same core of young players who came up around the same time for the Dodgers. And while Ethier and Kemp have taken a huge step forward, Loney appears to have moved back over the last half of last year and into this season. And the fastball fouled away, 2-2.
Didn't Loney, when he was younger, had that big game in Colorado where he drove in with
9 runs?
9 runs,
Yep.
right. I remember that.
That was his rookie season. And he's got a great glove and he's got a good attitude, but he just seems all messed up at the plate right now. Meanwhile, R.A. Dickey put up another 0 in the first inning today and has a lead to work with. And Loney hits one out to right field, chasing Hairston back. And that's the second out. So 2 away. Hairston playing right field today. Carlos Beltran getting his first day off in 3 weeks. Asked Terry Collins whether Carlos asked for the day off because, you know, they've had a continuous conversation this year, and Terry said, well, I went to him and I asked him if he could use a day, and he was kind of iffy on it, and so Terry said that it was his decision, Terry's decision, to sit Carlos down today. Mets will also have an off day Thursday between their series in Colorado and Houston.
And also, it's a day game after a night game. You gotta keep your bench active. You just can't let the guys on the bench rot.
The one thing that Terry said today is Sands swings and misses 0-2. He said he did not think when this season began that it was even possible that Carlos Beltran could start 21 straight games as early in the season as he has. Past Dickey and into center field, a base hit.
You see those shoes?
It's a Vision in pink.
Like ballerina shoes.
Little kitty. Oh, Hello Kitty.
Yes. Look at that. Watch the glove here. He sweeps at it. A little tardy.
Like guy at the fronton with a highlight cesta. Trying to take a swipe at that ball. So the second hit for the Dodgers. Sands aboard, and now the former Met Rod Barajas, who homered in the opening game of this series.
Barajas hitting 1 for 22 with runners in scoring position. Ouch.
And first pitch fastball from Dickey. And it's floated down the right field line, foul, and it's 0-2. I don't think the fact that Barajas caught Dickey last year gives him any advantage at all swinging against that knuckleball.
No, it does not. Absolutely not. Notice that Dickey, there you see Barajas' numbers with men on base and bases empty. Stark as Gary would say.
Thank you for the attribution. Swing and a miss. He gets him with the high knuckler, and that's the third strikeout for Dickey. So he works around a 2-out hit and sends it to the bottom of the second. The Mets with a 1-0 lead. Youth Baseball Leagues with the SNY Play Ball Award presented by Sports Authority, offering $5,000 grants to in-need organizations to be used for new equipment, uniforms, or field improvements. The deadline to apply is June 15th. For details, visit sny.tv or any local Sports Authority location. Scott Hairston leads off the home second inning against Clayton Kershaw and takes some fastball outside for ball one. Hairston making his 9th start of the year today, his second in right field. He was brought in to face lefties, but he struggled against the lefties so far.
He certainly has, to the tune of 2 for 19. And he had such a great spring, a power spring, and it's just amazing. Usually you leave all your hits down in Florida. You know, you only can stay hot for so long, and it's happened to Hairston here.
Well, you never know what's going to happen in the course of a season with a team. You bring in 2 veteran outfielders, Hairston from the right side, Harris from the left side, and think about them as being the guts of your bench. And both of them, other than Harris in that first series of the year in Florida, have really struggled. But then you have guys like Jason Pridey and Justin Turner come up from the minor leagues and contribute, and the whole way that you look at your team over the course of a year can completely change in the course of 5-6 weeks.
Injuries have a big play in things, and Mets have had to kind of reshuffle the deck a little bit with their pitching. We forgot about Dylan G, another guy that wasn't in the plans.
Hairston hits it to shallow center. Late start in for Kemp, and that's going to fall for a hit. And then he boxes it around, but Hairston will hold it first. So Kemp got a bad read on that ball, and Hairston dumped it in front of him for the Mets' second hit.
Well, you take a look here. Kemp, you see a little bit of a not a bad break, not a great jump on that ball. Wasn't short.
So the Mets have the leadoff man on, and now Jason Pridey getting the start against the left-hander today. He's had only 7 at-bats against lefties. Had a key at-bat against the left-hander last night facing Hong-Chi Kuo. Interesting situation in a tie game in the 8th with 1 out and a runner at first. Was called upon to bunt, and it worked out perfectly. And it was a design play because the Mets realized that Hong Ching Kuo does not field his position well, and sure enough, he fielded the bunt, threw it away, and that set the stage for the Mets winning rally. Now Pridey in there to swing the bat against the left-hander, and a tough one at that. But it has been quite a run for Jason. 40 at bats now with the Mets and hitting an even 300 with 3 home runs.
He's done a terrific job. Of course, the game winner in the first game of this series, a 3-run shot.
And he pops this one up. Uribe retreating and puts it away in foul ground for the first out. So Pridey retired. 1 out and 1 on. And now R.A. Dickey will come to bat. R.A. just 1 for 10 at the plate this year, but showed how he could handle the bat with his performance last year, which means it's not a guarantee he's going to be bunting here.
Terry Collins always communicating with his players. I think it's more important today for managers to communicate with their players in the old days. There's a lot of managers that wouldn't even talk to you. Red Shandy is my first manager. He didn't say boo.
And Dickey gets down a beauty of a bunt. And Kershaw makes the play to first, moving Hairston over to second. So a good job by Dickey for his 4th sack of the year. What I found interesting about that tableau in the Mets dugout with Wright sitting there was that David obviously approached Terry about something. Terry was in his normal position in the dugout, and David clearly went out of his way to go there. And whatever the conversation was about, it appeared that he initiated.
I always liked a manager that was approachable, but you also like to be left alone too. You know, you've got a job to do. Everybody knows what they have to do. Things are a little different today. A lot more coddling going on in today's game. Maybe it's the high salaries. I don't know. I always hate to bring that up. But, I mean, I didn't know that. Like I said, Red Shandy's when he managed, didn't say boo. When Red came back, when Ken Boyer took over as a manager of the ball club late in '79, Red was the coach, and Red was like as talkative as can be. And I said, Red, I didn't know you could talk.
Well, we'll get Ralph Connor's take on the change in managerial communication over the years when he joins us in the next inning. Reyes grounded out to second base his first time up. But there's no question that Terry Collins is in that clubhouse every day, having at least a word with every player on a virtual everyday basis. Reyes breaks his bat, floats one toward first, but foul. And it's 1-2, and he'll go back for a new stick.
Well, Kershaw is just staying inside on Jose. He jammed in the first at bat. And he comes right back in here again. Ties him up.
Mercedes-Benz Ultramo brought to you by your tri-state dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. It looks very sad that that bat broke. He's had a lot of hits in that bat this week. 6 hits over the last 3 games. Leads the league in multiple hit games. You know, it's 47 hits. He played just over a fifth of the season.
Remember, he got off a little slow too the first 10 days of the season.
And he goes down on the changeup by Kershaw to end the inning. 3rd strikeout for Clayton Kershaw. Ralph Kiner will be joining us in the booth, the Ralph Kiner television booth, when we come back to the 3rd inning at Citi Field.
Look at that sweater.
The Verizon Studios, Kevin.
Well, it's our favorite time of the day. Verizon asked the booth, Gary, and what a gorgeous day it is, by the way. I found Terrence, a Mets fan from Las Vegas, who has a bench question for you guys. Terrence, what do you have for the guys?
Guys, how important are the next few weeks for Willie Harris and Scott Hairston?
And that's a good question. And, guys, I guess they got bought those couple weeks with Pagan, feeling that irritation in the side. What do you think?
How important are the next 2 weeks?
I guess in terms of protecting their jobs, as Dickey hits Kershaw with the pitch, and the Dodgers have a leadoff base runner. And I guess the issue is with Jason Pridey having played so well, are the veterans on that bench in some jeopardy of losing their job when Pagan comes back?
Well, I guarantee you one thing, the way Pridey has played, he's not going down. So it's a decision that has to be made. I guess, how much playing time is Harris and Harrison going to get? So it's a little difficult when you're pinch hitting. Is it critical? Well, it's always critical when you're on the bubble that you perform.
I think when the season began, there was an expectation that Carlos Beltran was not going to play nearly as much as he has, which would have created more of a role for Harris and or Hairston to get more starts.
Right. They were insurance policies in case Carlos couldn't go.
And of course, Bay was out at the beginning of the season, so that created opportunities. And now Pagan's been out, and that created yet another. But it's Pridey who stepped into the breach rather than the other two guys. Pridey has taken advantage of his really his first extended opportunity to play in the majors.
And I think what gave Pridey give Collins, that should be a
Molino
fastball.
Recovers, and Kershaw slides in, and he's safe. So Kershaw, the pitcher, aggressively going to second on the short wild pitch or pass ball.
I think it's going to be a wild pitch. I think it hit the ground. Almost hit Kershaw on the coconut. Look at that
put his
slide.
hands up to protect his head. And they're going to call this a pass ball.
Yep, it certainly
is. Had that. You want to see the definition of a knuckleball? That ball, knuckle.
Kids, that's an improper way to slide.
Well, that's a valuable piece of property sliding into second base there, and Clayton Kershaw.
Good hustle.
Taken outside. It's 3-1 to Carroll.
No, but getting back to Pridey, I think, and give Terry Collins credit, I think that Pridey got the chance to play in the lineup to start because Hairston and Harris struggled defensively in the outfield. I mean, Hairston really struggled. So there became a liability defensively. If they were going to start, they had to make a decision to get someone up here. But losing Pagan, they had to get someone to play center field, particularly here at Citi Field.
Yeah, I think what Pridey has given the Mets offensively has purely been a bonus. When they called him up when Pagan got hurt, it was because he was the best defensive option in center field. 3-2 now to Jamie Carroll, who singled up the middle his first time up. Kershaw at second and nobody out. And Carroll bangs one on the right side. That'll advance the runner. Ike takes a look at third. Wanted to see if Kershaw was lollygagging it over there. He was, but not enough for Ike to throw across the diamond.
Well, that was one of my favorite plays, was to throw out the runner on a ground ball hit to me at first base. Ike has the right idea because you have, see, okay, I'm checking. Now I got plenty of time to make the play at first.
So a runner at third with one out, and Aaron Miles up, and Miles a guy who loves to squeeze, but you got the pitcher at third base, which makes that less likely. And the Mets with a 1-0 lead are going to play halfway on the infield. And it's taken low for ball one. Well, Ralph Kiner joins us in the Ralph Kiner television booth. How are you, Ralph?
I'm fine. How are you?
It's great to have you here. This is your first regular season gig, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was here opening day, as you know, and then it's been a month. And I've been watching you guys on TV.
How are we doing?
And we got to change the script a little bit. I mean, I don't like the script.
What's wrong with the script?
Well, the script should be the Mets win every day.
Miles drives in the run with a base hit to right field, and so the game is even at 1. 6th run batted into the year for Aaron Miles as he chases Kershaw home.
You know, when you win, it's a lot more fun.
No fooling.
Well, they've certainly gotten better since 5 and 13.
Oh, yes, it has. Well, you did that for a while, but stay with it.
We're working on it.
All right.
Well, for 4 straight wins today.
Because you guys influence the game, you know. You tell somebody that they've been in a real hitting streak, and then they snap up, they ground out or something like that.
I think we have a
big influence. Yeah, no-hit, no-run games. You know, you talk about them.
Oh, we do.
And you know, one time years ago, Wade Hoyt did broadcast the Reds games, came in, we were broadcasting a no-hitter, and we were talking about the fact they had one. It was about the fourth inning, fifth. Whereas Enz Nelson, Bob Murphy, and I. And he said, "You're jinxing this guy." I said, "Well, it's not fair to your audience that's watching. There's a lot more watching there in this ballpark. And you got to tell them there's a no-hitter going on. Because they are watching the game, want to know what's going on."
So you always told people what was going on when there was a no-hitter going. So, in other words, it's yours and Lindsay's and Ralph's and our responsibility that no Met has ever thrown a no-hitter.
You got to keep the responsibility going.
To right field, and Scott Harrison is there to catch Kemp's fly ball to end the inning. But an unearned run for the Dodgers, the result of a pass ball, gets them even. Mets will send up Turner right in May in the bottom of the third, with the game tied at 1. Third inning brought to you by freescore.com. 3 credit scores, 1 place. Beautiful Mother's Day afternoon. Mets and Dodgers tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the third. Justin Turner, who scored the Met run, will lead off.
You know, you were talking about managers not talking to you and etc. When I played, when they talked to you, it was, "You're going back to the minors, son." That was what you didn't want to hear.
Was Casey a communicator with his players?
Yeah, but you never understood it, so you didn't know what didn't bother you at all.
Who was your favorite manager to play for, Ralph?
Al Lopez. Played for him Cleveland, and he was a good friend of mine because he was the guy that kept me out of trouble when I went to the big leagues after World War II. And he was a real influence on me, and a wonderful guy, and an outstanding manager.
What kind of trouble were you getting in?
Well, you know, when you're young and out of the war, you're getting a lot. But he kept me out of all those things.
So he talked to you.
That's right. He talked to me.
Where did you serve, Ralph? Did you serve in the Pacific?
I was a Navy pilot and served in the Pacific, yes.
A lot of ball players were pilots, no?
Well, a lot of them. Ted Williams for one, and Coleman. Coleman really had an outstanding career, and he had to serve in both wars, Korean War and so did Williams, and the World War II. But Coleman had a lot of missions, and he really was in the field of the fighting. In the World War II, Ted Williams was really an instructor. He didn't see any war problems.
Were you based in Hawaii?
I was based in Kaneohe in Hawaii, yes. Part of the time, not all the time.
Justin Turner breaking one of his pink bats. I think he had 3 of them in his locker before the game, so he's down to 2. But it makes sense that major league hitters would be good flyers because of their eyesight.
Yeah,
eyesight and also reactions
and tracking moving objects. I mean, if you're going to be trying to gun down planes.
Didn't have quite the sophisticated electronics that we have now.
Well, one thing about when you're shooting a machine gun, you had tracer bullets, so you really knew where the bullets were going, either into or not into the target.
And Justin Turner using his second pink bat, picks up another base hit. So after having the big hit last night, Turner's been on base twice, and the Mets have a leadoff hit for the second straight inning. And David Wright will come to bat. David walked his first time up. Of course, all the pink wristbands and shoes and bats, all designed to raise awareness for breast cancer research. Major League Baseball, in coordination with the Susan Komen for a Cure Foundation.
You know what I would do with David Wright? He's a foot away from the inside of that plate. I would move him up 1 foot, maybe 11.5 inches.
You mean closer to the plate,
right
or
here, the back
forward?
foot. The back foot's the key.
So get him forward in front of the plate.
To the plate, up, not up, but sideways. He's still too far away from the plate. I think he's moved up a little bit, but he's still too far away from the plate. He should try that. It was the one thing that Batista of the Toronto Ball Club, he got on top of that plate and hit 54 home runs. And that's my theory of hitting, is to get on top of the plate. Now, if you can't do it and you have to give it a good try, then you have to back off. But you got to try things when things don't work right for you.
Barajas having an equipment problem. Looked like he had a hole in his glove. The webbing broke.
He's got that tough job of catching the knuckleball, and they could tear up a glove pretty well.
Reggie Dalton keep climbing overhead cam and look at just where David's position in the batter's box.
See,
but the back foot, Ralph?
Back foot is a key part.
And you'd have him want to move forward
also,
towards the pitcher?
No.
Closer to the plate.
To the plate.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is, when you make that move, you got to open up your body and get your hips out of the way. Because you have to get your hips turned faster now that you're on top of the plate, because the pitchers are going to pitch you inside, because you take away the curve outside, which is why David strikes out so much. All he do is he gets all kinds of curveballs off the plate outside.
That's a backdoor slider right there.
There it is. See, that ball was on the end of his bat. If he hit that ball, he'd break his bat, and he has to hit it to the right field. See, the bat is late. Now you have to contact that ball out in front of the plate. Right over the top of the breaking ball, and it would have hit the end of the bat.
Fourth strikeout for Clayton Kershaw. 1 out and 1 on for Bay.
David's had a hard time getting untracked this year, that's for sure. It's a long season. Here we are, what is it, just through the first week of May.
Bay took a call, third strike, his first time up. Now, when you look at where Jason's position in the batter's box, he doesn't appear to be any closer than Wright is.
Well, he's too far from the plate, too. But his problem is he has to swing up at the ball. He doesn't hit home runs anymore. And he's swinging and he grounds out the majority of times. You have to adjust all the time in the game of baseball, as Keith knows. When you adjust, then you take away what they're doing to you and make him go somewhere else.
Well, Bay's a real top-hand hitter. He brings the top hand over on his swing. And he has difficulty hitting a good down breaking ball down. It gets under his bat because that top hand comes over. And a good hard late hard sinker gets under his bat.
Now they're going to start an argument because which is your power hand, the top hand or the lower hand?
I think the most important hand is your bottom hand, Rob. You just probably disagree.
Okay, now a lot of people say the top hand, and you can argue, with guys like Ted Williams and whatever, and it could be the top hand or it could be the lower hand. No one's ever settled that argument.
What do you feel?
I feel the top hand's very important too.
Really? See, my dad always taught me that the top hand's just the guide.
No,
that your bottom hand is the hand that you've got to go and lead with, and that's the hand you should be strongest with.
Well, my father died when I was 4 years old, so he didn't tell me anything about how to hit. But it's really a good argument, and if you want to start a bar fight, that's the way to go. Which is your top hand?
Well, one thing I know is that nowadays there are hitters who take their top hand off the bat on their follow-through.
Well, that was the Charlie Lau theory, and that was ridiculous. Charlie Lau and Walt Rinnack both had that theory and ruined more batters than anybody alive. And the Red Sox, Rinnack worked for the Red Sox, and they had a guy named Ted Williams also as the batting instructor in spring training. And they would go to Rinnack, who couldn't hit his fanny with both hands. And Ted Williams is not there, not doing anything. That makes no sense to me. When you get a player that can't hit and he's telling you how, you better be looking around.
And I guess conversely, it works for pitchers too that couldn't get anybody out.
There goes Turner again, and Bay hits the slow ground ball to third. And Uribe makes the running toss for the second out as Turner takes second.
Right here you see another ground ball by Jason. And the ball is down low. The bat was actually coming up as he hit that ball. He hit the top of the ball and grounded out on the ground.
He's out in front there. Well, it's going to change up.
He's not doing it. He's not doing the thing he has to do, and that's hit home runs. And he's got one this year. He had 6 of them last year.
Mercedes-Benz Ultra Mo brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. So you watch Bay and you look at his numbers and see that he hit 30 or more home runs 5 out of 6 years before last year. And what does that tell you?
It tells you he's doing something different than he did when he was hitting the ball in the air.
Molino lines one out to Ethier for the final out of the inning. Second straight inning. The Mets have a leadoff hit but don't score. We're tied 1.
They're back at Citi Field. Fantastic day. 1-1 Mets and the Dodgers. R.A. Dickey working to Ronnie Paulino for the first time in a game, and I talked to both parties about it today. You know, Paulino had never caught a knuckleballer before, so this is an all-new experience for him. R.A. said he thought a couple things. First of all, you want him to be comfortable, but he said he thinks the biggest challenge is not only catching it, but there's an art to catching it for strikes in terms of drifting with the baseball and to try to keep that frame, which is hard to do. And I talked to Ronnie. I said, what's the biggest challenge for you? He said, catching it, which is the biggest thing for me. But he said, look, I caught one side session in the spring, 2 side sessions this week, and then of course in the pen today. He said, I'm getting more comfortable. He's using the same glove that Josh Tolley uses when he catches them, so it's a little bit different glove. And he said what he's going to do probably a lot, what he did in the side sessions, kind of drop to one knee and almost sit a little bit more sideways. He wants to just kind of be as relaxed as he can, so a little bit different style. As you see, he's a little bit sideways there than normal. Guys?
Juan Uribe finally hits a fair ball, but he's retired. He's now 0 for 12 in the series. He struck out 5 straight at bats before that ground out. Well, Paulino missed one of them from pass ball that led to an unearned run in the last inning. But there have been a few today that have had so much movement you can't imagine how anybody would ever catch them.
Well, you know, one thing they tried to do, a lot of catchers that were catching knuckleball pitchers, is to use the chest protector as a shield and make sure it hits the chest protector if it doesn't hit the glove. And that keeps the ball at least in front of them. But it's really a difficult thing to do. You know, every ball player that plays in the major leagues, I think everyone, maybe a few didn't, always tried throwing knuckleballs when they warmed up for an infield. And they could have come up with some pretty good ones. And they were, of course, you're better off with a first baseman side glove if you're trying to catch a knuckleball, because it moves anyway and everywhere, and you never know which direction and why.
Loney takes one the other way, and Bay gets to the line quickly to hold him to a single. And the Dodgers have their 4th hit off Dickey.
Well, he had some terrible swings in the first 2 games of this series.
Boy, I'll say. He looked like a rusty gate up there.
I heard you talk about it, and they were really, you say, this guy's a major league hitter?
That was like, his body was no, lower half was working against the upper half. He had no rhythm.
Maybe he has the answer to how to get the base hit off a knuckleball pitcher. Have a terrible swing.
Well, you always said, Ralph, put 9 pitchers in the lineup.
That's right. Put 9 pitchers in the lineup, and you got an answer. You might be able to hit one and win a ball game.
Ralph's on his game today.
But you had 4 pitchers that pitched knuckleballs for the Washington Senators, and the catcher was put into the Hall of Fame because of that.
Either that or the insane asylum.
Well, he would have had a choice. He took the Hall of Fame.
That was Rick Farrell?
Rick Farrell. No, Rick Farrell. His brother, Wes Farrell, was a great pitcher and a really good hitting pitcher.
Still holds the record for most home runs by
38 home runs, yeah, as a pitcher. Played the outfield some of the time. Of course, Don Larson did the same thing.
Jerry Sands takes one the other way. Loney takes the turn at second, heads for third. Hairston's throw will be cut off. So back-to-back base hits by Loney and Sands, and the Dodgers have first and third and 1 out.
Well, when you got a knuckleballer out there, you got to wait to the last minute. And the 2 hitters, the left-hand hitter Loney went the other way, and now you got Sands, the right-hand hitter, going the other way. And that's hitting the ball right up at the plate right there.
Sands now 2 for 2 in this ball game.
So now Rod Barajas, and we showed you earlier how poorly Rod has done with runners on base. He's in an RBI situation here with first and third and 1 out.
Well, he's just got the big long swing. He swings for the downs.
One thing about him, he has 6 home runs, Keith. He does hit the ball hard when he gets the bat on the ball.
I'd look fastball first pitch here. Would not
he
let
got
him
a
get
fastball
it.
too.
Yep, wouldn't let him get away. Try to sneak a fastball ahead of me. Would never let a knuckleballer try to sneak one by you.
He has 11 home runs as a catcher when he came up to the major leagues with the Dodgers. Buster Posey was a really great rookie. Won the Rookie of the Year for the American League. Has a total of 13 home runs as a catcher when he came up. That includes last year and now.
1-1 to Barajas, who got off to a very good home run hitting start as a Met last year, and doing the same with the Dodgers this year. Grew up in LA, re-signed with the Dodgers last winter to stay close to home. And Dickey gets ahead of him 1-2 with the pitcher on deck.
Okay, now you got 2 strikes on you, and you had your 2 big cuts. You got a runner on third base here. You got to shorten up a little bit now. You can't strike out here.
Well, the one thing here, the Mets are playing back for the double play.
Always takes a big cut. Now you got to make contact. You cannot strike out.
1-2, and the fastball grounded toward third. Right with that shovel pass, gets the out at second, but not at first, and a run comes home, and the Dodgers take the lead. Very strange throw by David Wright.
And not the first time that we've seen David do that this season, Ralph.
Well, you can't throw this ball hard enough to get the double play, and that's what they were trying to get, a double play as they had the infield playing back. But with the pitcher coming up, I would not play the infield back for the double play. I would try and get to the 8th batter before the pitcher, and then try the pitcher, although he did score a run.
So the Dodgers take a 2-1 lead. Kershaw scored the first Dodger run. He was hit by a pitch, moved up on a short pass ball, and eventually came home on a hit by Aaron Miles. And he slaps one foul, and it's 1-1. Yeah, you were talking, Ralph, about how everybody throws a knuckleball. Before the Giants faced R.A. Dickey in his last outing, they had Bruce Bochy, their manager, throwing knuckleballs during batting practice. And that's how they tuned up for that game.
I wouldn't want that.
I'd put you in a bigger slump.
Please.
You just have to absorb the knuckleball somewhere.
Exactly. Just give me my rhythm. Let me have my BP.
There's no way to learn to hit the knuckleball. I can't, because you don't know which way it's going to break. It breaks all different ways. And they say, although it's hard to believe, if you're a scientist, you probably wouldn't believe it. I've seen knuckleballs that broke up, and I don't know how they do that.
I mean, they sail. Sail up?
They
I've seen them go up.
Yeah.
Darn right I have, yes.
Well, kind of like a rising fastball. It's not really rising.
But the fastball is fast.
Yeah.
It's the physicists that say the ball can't break. And I say, all you physicists, get up to the plate and take a look.
Dickey handles the grounder by Kershaw, and the inning is over, but the Dodgers gain the lead. A couple of opposite field hits and an infield out, and it's 2-1 LA.
Trump that cleaned it up.
Here's your Mets upcoming schedule. Remember, all Met games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV, and you can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Mets hit the road after today's game. Open up a series in Colorado tomorrow night against the suddenly cooled down Rockies. They go to Colorado and Houston before coming home to play the Marlins and the Nats, and then a trip to Yankee Stadium weekend after next. Ike Davis leads off for New York in the home fourth inning. Mets down 2-1. And Clayton Kershaw gets ahead of him. Ike took a call third strike his first time up.
All fastballs to Ike, all upstairs. He's had 3 swings and misses.
He's a good low ball hitter. You were talking about him lowering his hands. They're pretty high now. It drops them there and doesn't get them back up. That's what he did last year a lot. You can't drop your hands and not get them back up. If you lower your hands and go up, that's good. But you can't drop your hands. You don't have time, and you go back up. It's too late.
He's much lower than he was last year in his whole positioning. A lot of movement.
That was it, but that time he started to go back up.
And you had Willie Mays with the big hitch.
Well, but the hitches are good. I like hitches, and Wright has a good swing. And he goes into it, hits it, pulls the bat up, and that's important because the bat has to go up. That gives you a backswing, and the shoulders should turn just a little bit to get him back of the ball.
Rolled over to second base, and Aaron Miles takes care of Davis for the first out.
That was not a good swing at all.
Got pulled on that one on the breaking ball. The fastball set that up. A little out in front. Not that easy, Ralph, right?
No, it isn't that easy.
Got out in front there, and that little cutter.
But see, he had time to get back up. He got back up a little bit right there in the changeup. Changes speeds with the breaking ball.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Scott Hairston doing a fly ball single to center his first time up.
What was your highest batting average in your career, Ralph?
313. But I hit with a shift on for years and years, and it took a lot of base hits away.
Did you walk a lot?
I led the league in walks almost every year.
That's because you had no one in behind
you. No protection.
That's right, yeah. And on top of that, I hit 54 and 51 home runs, and like Eddie, any smart pitcher, he's going to say, well, let somebody else hit the home runs. Someone who hits 2 and 3.
Who was the best protection you ever had?
Wally Westlake. He had 25 home runs. But you need help. You really have to be protected. And look at Barry Bonds. Oh my God, he got walks all the time.
Scott Hairston is 2 for 2. So Hairston, who has really been struggling against lefties, had only 2 hits against them all year, and he has 2 against one of the best lefties in the league today.
Got a base hit. It was a boot base hit the first time up, and now again, it's a good base hit there.
So 1 out and 1 on for Jason Friday, who fouled out to third his first trip.
First time the Mets have had 2 hits in the inning, but they had 2 men on with a walk in the first inning. That's when they picked up their first run.
You ever see a pitcher take a stretch like that, Ralph? Hands over his head like that?
No, I haven't. The left-hand pitcher can do this about anything you want. They balk every time they throw the first base. They never are called. I think I messed up there. I thought Davis got the base hit. When I was talking about him, I was rooting for him, and it didn't work. He was out.
Slider by Kershaw gets ahead on Friday. It says here, Ralph, you walked 137 times in 1951. Mm-hmm. That's a 154-game season.
Yeah, that was the shortest season, and then that was the year I had 51 home runs.
We had to look up in that year how many were intentional. Don't have it? Don't have that stat?
I don't think they kept that stat. I think they do now, don't they?
Well, they did with Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
They have 125 intentional walks one year.
Yeah.
But you had 6 years of 100 or more walks.
Mm-hmm.
That was before people were talking about on-base percentage in the dirt.
You know, that's one of the things that is changing in baseball right now. The new way they write about base hits. Before, singles were the only thing that counted. And so you go by batting average. But now they count walks and singles as on-base percentage. And that's a true indication of how valuable you are to the ball club. Very important to get on base. I don't care whether it's a walk or a base hit. In fact, sometimes walks are better than a base hit. You know, the other thing that gets me is intentional walks. You don't even have a chance, and so you get no credit for that at bat.
Harrison at first with one out. 2-2 to Pridey, and it's on the outside corner, and Pridey's down looking. It's 5 strikeouts now for Kershaw. 2 out of the inning.
I don't think Pridey thought that was a strike.
Might not have been. It was certainly on the corner.
Oh, I think it was a...
Oh, I get it.
It's knee high, but let's see if it hits the corner.
Yeah, I think you got to protect your plate. Now he's right on the plate. There's no question about that.
That's too close to take.
It's too close to take, but it probably was outside.
Good look at the Delta keep climbing overhead cam. So Alfonso Marquez giving Kershaw that pitch for his 5th strikeout, and now R.A. Dickey's swinging at the fastball and missing. R.A. sacrificed his first time up.
Dickey has a pretty good approach to hitting. He hits the ball well. For a pitcher, of course, you have to add that all the time.
Keith likes his level swing.
On high pitches.
High pitches, you
Above
got
the belt.
you got to stay above your hands.
I'm just trying to incite.
You are.
You're a troublemaker, I'll tell you that.
I got a better word for it.
And Dickey is down on strikes to end the inning. That's 6 of them through 4 innings for Clayton Kershaw. He's got himself a 2-1 lead after 4. On a sunny Sunday afternoon.
That helicopter pilot always takes the same route. Why is that?
I think it's an airspace issue.
Oh, I should have known that.
You know, you got to clear your route with the FAA.
You better believe it. All those buildings around you better believe.
You've run that reservoir, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
It's a nice thing to do.
I used to run.
How far is it?
Oh, I forget what it is at once, the one loop around, but I used to run from my apartment in 49th and 2nd, enter the park to where General Sherman's statue was by the plaza, run up the east side, all the way up around the reservoir, down the west side, come back around, and then it was a 45-minute run. And I loved it.
Gosh.
Particularly in the summer.
It's like a
scenery,
like a 10K.
The scenery was
You're
amazing.
you were like Rusty Scott. He used to run back from Wrigley Field to the hotel.
I did that once, a couple times when I wasn't playing.
It's a nice long lakeshore drive.
Yeah.
The scenery's beautiful.
Jamie
Summer.
Carroll takes outside 101.
Go by the tennis courts there, and I lived in Midtown at one time in Chicago. That's a great city.
It sure is. We go there this year, Ralph. We have a 3-game series in Chicago. And the first 2 games are night games. Yep. Can you believe that? Is that weak?
I hate that.
It's weak.
I mean, Chicago was great because you had all-day ball.
Yep.
And, of course, you could eat it out every night.
And great restaurants in Chicago.
Wonderful.
2-1 to Carroll, and he floats one foul. Well, it wasn't until 1988 that they put lights into Wrigley Field.
You know, one time they were going to put lights in 1941, I believe it was. And because of the war starting, they stopped. They had the lights purchased. And we're going to put them in there. Of course, it was the only park that didn't have lights for years and years.
And they still are very limited in the number of night games they're allowed to play there.
But they increased the limit.
Yeah, I think it's about 30 now.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Davis going a long way, but the throw is a tough one, and Dickey did all he could, but couldn't make the tag in time. Quite an effort. Good play by Davis to get there, and a great job by Dickey to try and get an out on it, but Carroll is safe.
Well, this is a fine play in the hole, but you can't throw a parachute over there. That's a hand grenade.
That was awfully close.
What a play by Dickey. My goodness. Look at this.
He almost got him. Close.
It was real close, and he got down on top of the shoulders with that glove.
Jeez. Looked like Hickok's got the call right, though. Looked like Carroll got his foot on the bag before the tag. So it's an infield hit for Carroll, his 6th hit in this series. And Aaron Miles comes up with a man on. Miles drove in a run with a base hit, and he hits this one to center field. Pridey coming on. He'll have to play it on a hop. And so the Dodgers with back-to-back hits to start the 5th. Andre Ethier coming up. First, let's check in with Kevin.
Well, guys, Linda Lacuna is today's honorary Batgirl. It's a great initiative by Major League Baseball, and just to try to raise awareness for breast cancer every year. And Linda's son wrote an essay, was selected, and to her surprise, here you are today. And fighting breast cancer, you're through the radiation part, feeling good and looking great. What would you say to the people that are watching that are maybe going through what you're going through, or maybe are about to go through what you're going through?
It's a rocky road. The feelings at first are, you need to get through them. I had anger, a lot of anger, and depression and why me and all that kind of thing. But if you could just get through that and try to focus, because I wasted a lot of time not focusing on getting better, and and it's hard to focus.
Ethier puts one through the right side, and now the Dodgers will have the bases loaded. What do you take from today? I mean, I see the smile on your face. You're a huge Met fan. What do you take out of today?
Oh, I mean, to raise awareness for this cause and to be on my favorite team's field and meet the players, and full heart. That's what I take away. A very full heart.
Hopefully you inspire a few people watching too. Continue to feel better, and thanks for the time.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks very much.
All right, Linda. Guys, let's go back to you.
All right, thanks, Kevin, and thanks, Linda, for the fight and for providing inspiration for others in the battle against breast cancer. Big spot for R.A. Dickey. Bases loaded, nobody out, and the very dangerous Matt Kemp at the plate. Kemp is 0 for 2, and he takes the knuckler down for ball 1. Kemp with 6 home runs, 21 runs batted in.
See, the corners are in here, and Ike Davis in. I would just play Ike back, concede a run, try to get a double play here. It's a 3-1 ball game. Got more of a hole open now with Ike in. Your team has been scoring runs. The Dodgers have not. I just think that it opens up the door for a big inning.
On top of that, you got Kemp, who's a good hitter up there, and that's another thing. You play the infield end, becomes an even better hitter.
2-1 now to Kemp. He got 5 career grand slams.
You got David Wright playing back at third. I just don't understand why Ike would be in. You see David over here. He's playing back.
I guess they figured that Kemp will not hit the ball to the right field.
2-1. And he reaches for one, and Dickey's got the play at the plate. Polino on to first for the 1-2-3 double play. Now he got him lunging for the knuckleball, and 2 big outs for R.A. Dickey.
Well, that's just a bad at bat right here.
Well, you know, the funny thing is the Mets are playing for the double play in the infield and not back to the pitcher. And this is exactly what happened. That was like a perfect movie script.
It's the one place you don't want to hit it.
That's
You're a
the
hitter.
only
If you
place.
hit it on the ground, you don't want to hit it back to the pitcher.
If you hit it anywhere else, it's going to be a attempted double play.
So now 2nd and 3rd and 2 out. And here's Uribe, who's 0 for 12 in this series.
Dodgers.
And he hits it sharply, but right at Reyes. Plenty of time to throw out Uribe, and Dickey works out of big-time trouble in the 5th. The Dodgers have the bases loaded and nobody out, and they do not score. Halfway through, top of the order coming up with the Mets down 2-1.
Scrub Chubb, that's the one I liked.
3rd time around the batting order for New York. Jose Reyes leads off against Clayton Kershaw in the home 5th. Reyes is grounded to 2nd and struck out 0 for 2.
Staying inside on Reyes.
Into the air to left field, chasing Sands back. And on the warning track, he makes the grab. 1 away.
Did you see Kershaw give that changeup away? He Western Union that one. We can get it in real time.
That was really Pony Express, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he gave this away. He slowed his. Watch him slow his motion down. See that? He just slowed his arm speed down. That is, oh boy, oh boy.
One of the reasons why they call it a palm ball when you change up, you put the ball back in your hand and make your arm go as fast as you would on a fastball. But the ball's so deep in your hand it doesn't come out in any speed at all.
Yeah, Justin Turner has walked and singled to left and scored the only Met run today after his star turn last night as a pinch hitter.
He does something a little bit different on his changeup in his motion. There's another changeup right there.
Hasn't thrown as many curveballs today as we're used to seeing from Kershaw.
He's got a pretty good fastball going today.
One thing about Keith Hernandez, he notices all those little things about what pitchers do to tip off pitches. He's like Rusty Staub. Staub kept a notebook.
Yeah, no, he did.
On all the pitches.
Rusty's far more sophisticated than
well,
I.
you got a good mind. That's why.
He's just more organized.
You do.
I have a good mind.
Yeah, you keep it in your head.
Rob, you should win more games. Why don't you tell Ann you're going to work around 50 more games this year?
That might be the kiss of death right there.
2-2 to Turner. And he fouls back that pitch.
You see,
it's 2-2.
You see Kershaw's reaction there. He got away with a hanger right there.
No, that's one thing about baseball. Every time a guy hits a home run, they say, well, he made a bad pitch. A lot of good pitches you hit, but there's sure a lot of bad pitches you hit, too.
And also bad pitches that you don't hit.
And don't hit, right. Well, that's the thing. I would bet that almost 40%, maybe right around 40 is about right, are balls that are not strikes that are swung on and missed. They're strikeouts. They're out of the strike zone.
Popped up. Loney having trouble with the sun. Miles comes over to try and help, but Loney stays with it for the second out.
And his glasses on.
Here's today's AT&T trivia question. Who was the only player to win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young in the same season?
I think I know.
I think you do too.
American Leaguer?
No.
No?
Yeah. Oh, no, not.
Only rookie, huh?
We won't.
Yeah, I think. Well, we'll talk about it when we show the
Write it
answer.
down and see if you're right.
David Wright grounds one out to shortstop, and Jamie Carroll's got it. And that's the first 1-2-3 inning of the day for either side. Kershaw's through 5 with a 2-1 lead. Mets information straight from a blogger as passionate about the team as you are, featuring a constant flow of the latest Mets news and opinion. Mets blog presented by Verizon, featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. One note to James Loney, who singled and scored in the 4th inning. And he grounds one to Ike Davis. And Dickey gets over to cover for the first out in the top of the 6th. So one away now, the rookie Jerry Sands, who's handled the knuckleball awfully well. First time he's seen one in the major leagues. He's 2 for 2. Single to center, single to right. Sands has not hit a whole lot since being in the major leagues. After hitting 35 home runs in the minors last year and being named the Dodgers minor league player of the year. He takes a fastball for a strike, 0-1.
For years, the Dodgers had the farm club in Albuquerque, which gives you because of the high altitude, a misconception of how good a player is.
Light air. Albuquerque's up in the mountains.
Very
Southern
yeah.
Rockies.
Like Colorado, like Denver.
Well, the Rockies have their AAA team in Colorado Springs. There's the slow knuckler from
But that
Dickey at 58.
That's not a mile high, though. It's only partly. That's a good golf course up there. It's
Colorado Springs? Near Pikes Peak?
in Bartmore. The hotel there. Great hotel.
Fastball, and it's 3-1 now to Sands. Now, the walks have been down for Dickey, but still looking for those positive results. And another fastball, and he misses with it, and it's ball 4. So there's the first walk of the day. And Sands is on base for the 3rd straight time.
See what you did there? You jinxed him.
Yeah, it's me. Area City probable starters for the series in Colorado. Chris Capuano goes against Jhoulys Chacín tomorrow. Mike Pelfrey against Jason Hamill Tuesday night. And then Wednesday afternoon, John Neese against Ubaldo Jimenez, still looking for his first win of the year. Remember what, he won 15 in a row last year? 15-1?
And wound up winning, what, 19? Didn't win 20.
So now Rod Barajas with 1 out and 1 on. Barajas drove in the go-ahead run on a force play his last time up.
Just a beautiful day for baseball.
Let's play 2. Ernie Banks.
1 today and 1 tomorrow, right?
Okay. Never forget one time we were playing in Houston in Colt 45 Stadium. Beat up ballpark that was hot with millions of sweet mosquitoes. He hit a triple, slid in the third base, got up, said, "Let's play 2," and then he passed out.
Hey, the best doubleheader the Mets ever played with the Cubs was the one they didn't finish in '73, the last day of the season.
It rained all day. Yeah, it was a terrible day to play. We finally got out of there late. I remember that.
Well, you clinched the division,
celebrated,
and then the umpires got together and said, "We don't need to play that second game."
Called it off. Yeah.
That was quite a year, '73. That's the year nobody talks about. That, you know, the Mets came from last place at the end of August and really won the World Series that year.
They finished 500 that year, right? And they won the division.
They were
three games over.
Right.
82 and
just
70.
barely over 500. Yeah. But he had a great September, and Tub McGraw was a guy that said, "Look, you got to believe." M. Donald Grant was involved with that thing. He came down and
Ariston chases down Barajas' fly ball for the second out.
He came down and made a speech about, you know, we got to play better than this, and we can still win, and all that sort of thing. And he went around to each ball player, and they never knew their names. And he would look down at the jock straps that were all changing, getting ready for the game, and see the number on there, and then he would know who the number was, and then that way he would know who the player was he was talking to. And that's when Tug came out of the locker room afterwards and said, "You got to believe." And that's how that thing was really a joke by Ted McGraw, and became a saying that people talk about even now.
He was kind of making fun of Mr. Grant.
He was putting him on.
He could have looked at the shirts, you know.
Well, they didn't have the shirts on. No, he had the shirts that are still hanging up.
Dickey had on Kershaw, his opposite number, 0-2. Slap toward third in the foul ball. Keep in mind as this game moves along, we're in the 6th inning now, that Frankie Rodriguez is probably not available today. Pitched 3 straight days, got saves each game, and Terry Collins would like to stay away from him. And that might lead Dickey to be left in this game a little bit longer than usual.
Buckholz is available. The bullpen's been a little taxed.
They do have a new arm out there in Pat Mish, who was called up today. Little roller to the left side. And Reyes comes in for the running toss and scooped out just in time to beat the hustling Kershaw to end the inning. It turned out to be a much tougher play than it first appeared to be because Kershaw put the pressure on. '73, and probably the most amazing part was the Mets beating the Reds in that league championship series.
Well, here they are. McGraw's trying to get off the field.
Gary, did I see you there?
I was in that crowd on the field.
I saw you there. You were the guy tackling the player there.
You were the guy with all that hair.
Well, yeah, probably. My friends and I had seats way up in the mezzanine in right field for that series. I was about 15 years old, and as Game 5 was drawing to a conclusion, we snuck our way down behind the Mets dugout, and so when the game ended, we crashed the field. That was the last big on-field celebration before they started getting tough with those things.
You had the euchre seats, huh?
Yeah, but we improved them as the game went along.
Did you tear up the field, take any grass?
No, I did in '69 when they beat the Braves in the LCS that year. I got my little piece of turf.
And that's growing in your backyard now, right?
It was actually in a plastic bag in my mom's shed for about 20 years, and then she moved, and it was the end of my sod. But it was a nice memento. 1-1 to Jason Bay leading off the home sixth.
Now there's would you hit with glasses on like that?
Well, the glasses evidently are
non-glare.
Yes, and they're just not like old sunglasses.
Well, you know, the guys used to wear those yellow bright glasses.
The blue blockers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith made a few dollars off those.
I did. I did an ad for them. Mel loved them. Mel Stoudemire loved them for duck hunting in fog.
Well, that's different. Those ducks don't fly like a hard fastball. They don't go 100 miles an hour.
I never timed them.
I never forget, I came back to spring training after the first year, and Mel pulled me aside in spring and he said, "Can you get me some more of those blue blockers?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Why?" He goes, "They're great for duck hunting."
2-2 to Bay, and he goes down swinging at the breaking ball. So that's number 7 for Clayton Kershaw. He's settled into a groove, retired 6 in a row. Let's check in with Chris Carlin. He has a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. we have our third no-hitter in a week?
Well, some of the lineups I've seen running around the National League, they probably can. Or will, excuse me.
Justin Verlander threw a gem yesterday. Perfect for 7 1/3. Walked only 1. R.A. Dickey doing some maintenance on those fingernails using that glass nail file of his.
And Gallardo had a one-hitter, lost it in the 8th to the Cardinals.
And Kershaw can't flag it down, and Miles can't make the play either. And Polino has himself a seeing eye hit.
That is a serious seeing eye dog.
That was right off the end of the bat, I think.
Jammed him. Right through his leg.
Oh, that's good for 2 points.
There's a shortstop.
So the Mets have the tying run aboard with 1 out. Second hit of the day for Polino. And here's Ike Davis, who's had a rough time against Kershaw. Took a call 3rd strike and a weak ground ball to 2nd.
All predominantly upstairs fastballs to get ahead of Ike, and got him a last at bat on a breaking ball.
This will be Kershaw's 90th pitch of the game.
Oh boy, do it by him. That's in his zone right here. That's out over the plate and down.
Ike was number 5 in slugging percentage in baseball when this game started.
Off the end of the bat to center, and Kemp is there for the 2nd out.
Slugging is compiled by total bases. In other words, a single is 1, a double is 2, and a triple is 3, and all men is 4, and then divided by official at bats.
What's the new one now where they have slugging percentage and
It's on base percentage and slugging. OPS.
OPS, yeah.
OPS.
Is that a little overkill?
And that's a real good symbol because it tells the truth about his real proficiency.
Yeah, you like it.
I do like it.
If you go back over the years and look at the leaders in OPS, it's the guys that you expect. It's the best hitters in the game.
Right. You don't have to memorize a lot of new names like RBIs, which I like. I don't like RBI.
Okay, that's right.
Okay.
Right. Ralph.
Now OBS.
Ralph.
Well,
whatever you like, it's fine.
Boy, that's pretty. No, the baseball is RBIs. I don't care how long you play it or whether it's not RBI. And I've received letters from professors that tell me I was correct with the RBIs, no matter what.
Really?
Yes.
1-1
to Scott Hairston, who's 2 for 2 today. It's always been RBIs.
Yes, all my life, everyone's life in the past. I don't know what you're talking about when you say RBI. It means only one.
Well, unless it's RSBI.
Well, that's the way they should do it. Runs better, it is better, yeah.
Like mothers-in-law.
Yeah, well, that makes it, well, that's grammatical. That's good.
2-1 now to Hairston. Or attorneys at law, but don't get me started.
Attorneys at law. Oh, let's not go there.
But all the new guys say RBI. They're going to change everything.
How about the people who call it the fair poll?
Well, that's it.
Really? How did that start?
Well, it is in fair territory.
Yeah, but it's still a foul poll.
It's a foul.
Force play ends the inning. Through 6 now, it's 2-1 LA. only player to win the Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young in the same season. It was 30 years ago that Fernando Valenzuela created Fernando Mania. And it was 30 years ago today that Fernando Mania came to Shea Stadium. A crowd of over 39,000 watched Fernando and the Dodgers shut out Mike Scott and the Mets 1-0. Mets were averaging about 11,000 patrons that year. It wasn't a very good year for the Mets. And they had 39,000 that day.
He had a great screwball.
Yes, he did.
And the screwball is a pitch that's very unusual. And one time it was called the fadeaway, and Christy Mathewson, one of the great early day pitchers, threw a fadeaway, which was a screwball.
Well, Fernando was a phenomenon. I mean, he brought the Mexican American community to Dodger Stadium like they had never been there before. And every game was just an event when he pitched.
Of course, you know, the Dodger Stadium's only about 100 miles from Mexico. And he really helped out the baseball side of the Hispanic people.
Jamie Carroll laces a base hit into right center field. What a series he's had. It's his 3rd hit in this game and his 7th hit in the 3-game series. And so another single against R.A. Dickey. That's all he's given up today. 9 singles now.
One of the great screwball pitchers was Carl Hebel, who pitched for the Giants. And his arm, if you look, he was left-hand pitcher. His arm was actually trimmed. When he walked, the palm of his hand would be away from his body.
And of course, speaking of screwballs, close play at first as Carroll gets back. We saw the video of Tug McGraw. Of course, he had a terrific screwball.
Great screwball, yes. And it's very unusual for a right-hander to have a screwball, and the Dodgers had one of the great ones, a right-hand screwball pitcher. He was mainly a relief pitcher.
Mike Marshall?
Mike Marshall.
Yep.
He never wore a long-sleeve shirt, pitched in the coldest weather in the world.
Yep. Pitched up in Montreal.
And pitched in Montreal, and he was really a tough right-hand pitcher with that screwball.
Miles gets the bunt down. Barajas will have to go to first with it. Turner late getting there, and they just get him. And Justin Turner barely got there in time as Polino had to wait to make the throw. So the sacrifice successful for Miles, getting Carroll to second.
Well, good read on the bases by Carroll, and that ball was popped up. And I think what Turner did was it was popped up, he froze, and he almost got there late.
Mike O'Connor, who made his Mets debut yesterday, gets up in the bullpen. Andre Ethier is the batter. That's the guy you figured he'd be getting up for. But Dickey's going to stay in to face him. Ethier 1 for 3 today. Dickey's thrown 94 pitches today. He's given up 2 runs and 9 hits, walked only 1. The Dodgers left 14 runners on base yesterday. They've already left 7 on base today.
Ethier with 30 consecutive games of base hits. And the record, of course, is DiMaggio's at 56. In the minor leagues, DiMaggio had 61 consecutive games where he got at least 1 base hit. Ethier, of course, laid out 1 game, and DiMaggio, when he had 56 games, played every day in every game, and also played in 7 doubleheaders.
Correct.
At that time.
7 double dips.
And Pete Rose, who hit in 44 and has a National League record, also played every game, every day. Did not sit out any games.
And that streak was ended in Atlanta, and Gene Garber was the pitcher that finished him off. And Gene Garber jumped up in the air like it was the World Series. And Pete Rose's comment in the paper the next day was,
Ethier drives one deep toward the right field corner, right toward the pole. It's out of here. Andre Ethier with a 2-run homer, and the Dodgers stretch their lead to 4-1.
And that's only the 4th home run by Ethier. But he is hitting well for average.
So the Dodgers, who've lacked the big hit for this series, get a big one here from Ethier.
Well, that ball did not knuckle. Was it a fastball?
Might have been a fastball. It's hard to tell.
not sure. I saw spin on it. Either that or it was a bad knuckleball.
I wouldn't have thrown him a fastball because he's too good.
So the Mercedes-Benz Ultramo brought to you by your tri-state dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com.
I think that was
slow to be a fastball.
It was a knuckleball. Yep. He just didn't get a good one there.
Yeah.
He found the right part of the ballpark to hit home runs.
First base is open, and so you can walk in, but a Kemp behind him is also a good hitter.
Kemp had a great opportunity in the 5th inning. Bases loaded and nobody out. Chased a bad knuckleball and hit a comebacker into a double play.
Well, there you go, folks. IOTV pitch differential, and that's right down Broadway.
Kemp pops this one in foul ground. Davis over to the barrier and runs out of room. 1-2.
You know, you wonder about why Todd Cobb didn't have a consecutive game-ending streak, because he was, of course, an all-time great average hitter. He had 2 real streaks. One was 30 games, and the other was 30 games.
Well, I bet you hit probably in around 80 of 89 or 80 of 85, right?
Something like that,
yep.
Because his lifetime average was 346, I think.
Well, there's the streaks right there.
Willie Keeler had the record before 1900, not considered a modern record. So Pete Rose has the modern National League record.
Willie Keeler was the guy who said, "How do you hit?" And he said, "I hit them where they ain't."
It's a good strategy.
Yeah, that's right.
No, Ralph, correct me if I'm wrong. DiMaggio, when he got the streak broken, evidently hit the ball hard.
Ken
Keltner made 2 great plays on him, you bet.
And then after that game, he went on to another, what, a 27? 18 more straight?
I think 18 more, yeah. But that, you know, hit it in 61 in his rookie year in professional baseball. It was also amazing.
It was for the San Francisco Seals?
Yes. He was signed right out of high school for the Seals. It was a AA club, which was the highest minor league symbol of all time at that time. They're on, it's now AAA. And at one time it was an open classification in the Coast League when they were trying to become the 3rd major league.
3-2 to Kemp is outside, and so Dickey issues his second walk. Looks like he may be running out of gas a little bit. Some of the particulars on Joe DiMaggio: 361 home runs, 369 strikeouts. That's the most amazing figure of all.
He had only that year he hit in the 56 games. He struck out just 13 times all year long, which is the most amazing record to me of all records.
A power hitter too.
And a power hitter, free swinger.
Back in the day when Yankee Stadium
was
left
really
field
big.
and center field was cavernous.
Center field was like 456 feet. You're talking about big ballparks. I mean, it's center field in the Yankee Stadium in the old days when Ruth played there was immense.
Of course, there were
right field was short, but the rest of the park was big.
There were the rumors of discussions of the trade of DiMaggio for Williams to put them each in the ballpark that are tailored
happened,
for them.
and I was there. The general manager of the Red Sox, I think, was Joe Cronin. He's the manager, I guess. And also Greenberg was there, and I was with Hank. And they actually had been drinking, and they made the deal, and the next day they called up and called it off. But DiMaggio was going to go to Fenway, which was a short left field fence, and Williams was going to go to the Yankee Stadium, which is a short right field fence, and he was left that better.
Close play. Got him. Dickey picks off Kemp for the second out.
I got a little excited there. Sorry.
Got him right on his pink right hand.
Kemp has not had a good series. The Mets have contained him.
He got off to a great start this year.
Rebate drills one foul. Still looking for his first hit in this series. He's gone 0 for 13. Dickey trying to stagger through the 7th after giving up the 2-run homer to Ethier. And Uribe pops one up. Should be playable for Ike Davis. And that retires the side. But Ethier's home run stretches the LA lead. 7th inning stretch time on Mother's Day at Citi Field. Ethier didn't get a hit yesterday, but he gets a measure today. A 2-run shot, his 4th of the year off Dickey. And at the 7th inning stretch, it's 4-1 LA. Bob's Discount Furniture, proud to be the furniture store of the New York Mets. And by the Volkswagen Going, Gone event. Great deals are here, but not for long. Visit VWDealer.com. Tonight at 6 p.m. on an all-new Mets Weekly, get a breakdown of Ike Davis and the hot start to his second season, plus an inside look at Jason Friday's first tour in the majors with the Mets. On Mets Weekly, new episode tonight at 6, only on SNY. Some of the crowd up and stretching for the 7th inning stretch. Mets down 4-1. Some of our military on hand for the game today. Lots of moms.
Navy, summer whites.
Mother's Day in New York. Been a beautiful day. Mets, though, have been held in check by Clayton Kershaw. Looking to rally in the late innings. Fans love seeing themselves on the screen. You know that? It's a great attraction.
They do. And the only flaw about it is if you look at yourself on the screen,
you're turning away from the camera.
Turning away from the camera. There's a mom.
Do they teach you that in TV school?
I figured that out.
You face the camera all the time.
I love when I say the toughest part when you're looking into the camera and you got to talk and look into the camera. Oh, pretend the camera's your friend. Pretend the camera's your wife. It's a camera.
Didn't you ever play pretend when you were a kid? This stick is a sword, right? Clayton Kershaw has held the Mets to 1 run and 5 hits over the first 6 innings. Jason Friday will lead off. Chin Lung Hu has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter for New York. And then Jose Reyes. So R.A. Dickey done after 7 innings. Gave up 4 runs and 10 hits today. There's Hu on deck.
He's on first base.
Who?
Who is?
You guys.
Mike O'Connor getting ready in the Mets bullpen.
You know, both Abbott and Costello are in the Hall of Fame.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's one of the greatest comedy skits there ever was.
I don't know. He's on third.
And it goes on for what?
It's hilarious.
And it's just great.
It's just hilarious.
They did that in their act when they were starting out as young people, as comedians. But Abbott and Luz Costello. I came back from New York and was on the same plane with Abbott one time. Abbott was not a big baseball fan. Costello was a tremendous baseball fan. He really knew a lot about baseball. I was at that time they had berths on airplanes, and I had a berth, and it was a TVA Constellation I was flying in, and it stopped in Chicago to refuel, and I paid $100 for the berth to sleep in it, just to see what it was like. And so we got to L.A., and I had gone to in Chicago. I got in the berth. I said to Costello, I said, did you stay up all night? He said, no. They put me to bed. He said, when I asked him to go outside and get a breath of fresh air, we were still in the air.
Clayton Kershaw issues his third walk of the night as Pridey is aboard, and now who will pinch hit? Who is the only right-hand batter other than Carlos Beltran available on the bench in this game. Kenley Jansen up in the Dodger bullpen, so Terry Collins is going to save Beltran for a later spot.
Absolutely.
And use who here?
Beltran having a really good session of hitting in the last couple of weeks.
Who just 1 for 17 on the year, and he takes high for ball one.
That's neat, Beltran, to have a year like he had when he hit 40-some home runs.
Well, so far the returns have been great for Beltran. Just the fact he's been able to play every day for 3 weeks in a row.
And he's running well. That's a good thing about it. You don't see him limping at all.
Kershaw up over 100 pitches. He's thrown as many as 122 in a game this year against the Braves. 100 even in his last start. Don Mattingly will keep an eye on him. 1-0 to the former Dodger, Chin Lung Hu, playing for the first time against his old team. And Kershaw dents the outside corner, 1-1.
It's too bad he's a second baseman, because he would have fit that form well. Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know on third.
That'd be too easy.
I would have loved to fool around with that.
And Kershaw gets ahead 1-2. Jose Reyes on deck. And Hu chases one out of the strike zone, and Kershaw has his 8th strikeout.
Change up out in front.
So 1 out and 1 on. Jose Reyes coming up. Reyes is 0 for 3 in this game. He's grounded out, struck out, hit one to the warning track in left field that was caught his last time up. Mets have had just 5 hits this afternoon against Kershaw, who at age 23 is rapidly becoming one of the top left-handers in the game. And Reyes takes one to the middle for a base hit. So Jose has his first hit of the afternoon, and the Mets will get the tying run to the plate here in the 7th.
He hits this ball off the handle of the bat. Right there in the trademark. But he hits it right in the center of the bat, and it goes into center field. It's a wonder the bat didn't break.
Mercedes-Benz Ultra Mo brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. So now Justin Turner, who's 1 for 2 and a walk today and has scored a run, comes to bat as the tying run. That's down 4-1 in the 7th after Ethier's home run in the top of the inning. So Turner, who delivered in a big spot last night, comes up in a big spot today. And he takes a fastball for a strike. breaking ball blocked by Barajas. One of the very few curves that Kershaw has thrown today. Normally a signature pitch for him.
Barajas has had a good day behind the plate here. He's blocked more than a few curves in the dirt today. It's a tough play right there.
He was right on the plate.
Yep, that's a tough one.
Makes that extra high bounce. One and one to Justin Turner. And the fastball drilled in for a strike. 1-2. It's almost like he's only using that curve as a show me pitch and is always back to the fastball.
Well, Garrett, you've noticed up here, and you can notice in the dugout. I mean, Turner took 2 fastballs in this at bat. Looking for a curve when this guy's throwing 80% fastballs today.
They got a new stat out called WHIP, walks and hits, and innings pitched divided by innings pitched. It indicates what the walk and hit means to a performance. And that's another good one. The Sabre mathematicians are the ones that came up with that.
I like that.
I do too. It's per inning, right?
What I don't like are the stats that imply that once a ball's put in play that a pitcher has no control over it. I mean, they talk about pitchers' batting average on balls in play, and that if it's too high that they're unlucky, and if it's too low they're lucky.
Rudy,
as
I don't
opposed
like
to the
that.
fact
That's
that
a position.
Good pitchers create bad contact,
Right.
like that. The throw to second is wide, but Carroll stays with it, but can't turn the double play. With a better throw from Kershaw, they might have turned 2, but instead they settle for the 1-6 force, and the inning continues.
The other bad one, Gary, is the one where they say the average guy coming to the big leagues and use him as a base.
Right.
What does the average guy coming to the big leagues got to do with anything? It's just a number of people.
So now David Wright will come to bat as the tying run. David has walked, struck out, and grounded out 0 for 2. And Don Mattingly heads out to the mound. He's got the right-hander Kenley Jansen. Wow. And with David's numbers against lefties, he decides to go with the percentages and take Kershaw out and bring in Jansen to face Wright. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. Mets down 4-1. We'll be right back. 11 pitches over 6 2/3 and gives way to the rookie right-hander Kenley Jansen. 1st and 3rd and 2 out. And David Wright takes low and inside for ball 1. David's 0 for 2 and a walk. Facing Jansen, the native of Curacao.
He replaced Jonathan Broxton in the beginning of this series, was put on the disabled list. He's a very hard thrower, hard breaking ball, power pitcher, converted from catcher.
Mets saw his debut last year. He was dominant when he faced them in July. The runner goes, pitch gets away from Barajas. Holding at third is Pridey as Turner steals second.
Well, Ron Darling, our colleague, made a very good point that a converted catcher, he's got all the stuff, but can he hold runners on? And Mets down 3 runs. You better steal that base, and he does.
So Justin Turner's first steal. 2 in scoring position now for Wright with a 1-1 count. And Jansen's 1-1, well outside. 2 balls and a strike.
Oh, here comes a fastball.
That was I believe that was a cutter, yeah.
Well, cutter. 2-1. He's got to throw a strike here.
Cutter is what is really a slider, but they changed all these names. They call sliders curveball, and then they call curveballs sliders, and cut fastballs are now called sliders.
Jansen, when he came in on Friday, struck out a couple of batters, issued a walk, gave up a double, and then struck out Murphy with 2 in scoring position. Now he's behind his first batter, Wright, 3-1.
And a walk here would put the time run at first base.
Kershaw, an interested spectator. 3-1 to David Wright. And he takes a strike.
Taking all the way.
Why would he be taking all the way with 2 men out and a chance to drive in 3 runs?
Wow. You see it all the time now.
I just
taking 2-0 fastballs, 3-1 fastball.
Well, those are, as they say now, they're hitters' pitches. So you look fastball, but it's not a fastball, then take it.
3-2 from Jansen. And it's low, ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Bay.
But you don't want your top home run hitter, and that's what Wright should be, taking that walk. You want him to drive in the runs.
I tell you what, I never would have taken Kershaw out of this ballgame. Number 1, he's your ace. I got a young kid up here that's going to pitch with the game on the line here.
Now Bay right here has hit a lot of home runs, but he hasn't in the last 2 years.
Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach, heads out to the mound. Matt Guerrier gets up in the bullpen. Bay is at the plate, and Carlos Beltran has come out on deck as a prospective pinch hitter for Ronnie Polino.
Polino with an average that's way over almost 500. But you can't go by that. It's a short period of time.
Well, for Terry Collins with Beltran on the bench today, it's finding the right spot where he can do the most damage. Taylor Buchholz getting up in the Mets bullpen, with Dickey having left for the pinch hitter here in the 7th. Well, Kenley Jansen walked the first man to face him. Now the tying runs are on base for Bay, who has struck out twice today and grounded out 0 for 3. Jason 2 for 10 in this series, facing the rookie Jansen. Bay takes a fastball for a strike.
And taking the first pitch.
Well, you can't do that when you look one way and it's a fastball call. Got to take advantage of that fastball.
Oh, almost got him. Excuse me, folks. I got a
You got that
flashback there, Keith?
Like old times, huh?
Well, this might be a good matchup for Bay. Bay's a high ball hitter, and this is a high ball pitcher. Not a high ball drinker.
1-1 to Jason, and he takes a fastball high, 2-1. This ball does have a little cut on it, doesn't it?
Yes, that's by design.
Kind of like Mejia's fastball.
He's basically on one plane. A little flat slider, flat cutter. So wherever that ball comes out of his hand, that's going to be the elevation of the pitch.
Rod Barajas trying to get Jansen's attention. And Base swings through that fastball,
Right
2-2.
down the middle on the lower. You can't miss that.
That's a cutter, too.
Look at this.
And that's a hanger. Right under it. That was right in the wheelhouse.
You can't hit that ball out of the ballpark. You're in deep trouble.
Now it's 2-2 to Bay with the bases loaded and 2 out. And Jason drives one to left, but right there is Sands. And that'll do it for the Mets' threat in the 7th. They load him up but leave him there. And after 7, it's 4-1 LA.
Rocky Mountains take on the Colorado Rockies. Coverage begins with Pepsi Max pregame live at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. 8:30 first pitch. Mets and Rockies. Chris Capuano on the mound. Last time the Rockies were here a couple weeks ago, it was a domination, a 4-game sweep, and they were terrific. Since, they haven't done much. They're 8-11. They've lost their last 3 games in a row, all in walk-off fashion, so they've hit a little bit of a rut. And guys, we all remember the series that Troy Tulowitzki had in that 4-game set. 10 hits, 4 home runs. He was out of this world, tremendous. Well, really, with the Rockies slide, both of their stars haven't done much. As a matter of fact, Tulowitzki, since that great series, hitting just 192, just 1 home run in that time. Carlos Gonzalez didn't have a great series, but he did have a few hits, did have a home run against the Mets, and he hasn't been doing much as well. He's only hitting 222 in the 18 games since that with 1 home run. So the Rockies stars have slumped. Gary, you mentioned before Ubaldo Jimenez still looking to get something going. The Mets will see him this series, so maybe the Mets can get a little bit of an edge, see a little different Colorado team this time around. Guys, back up to you.
All part of the ebb and flow of the season as Mike O'Connor makes his 2nd appearance for the Mets. Retired the only 2 batters to face him yesterday. In fact, Tulowitzki, this last week, he's just 2 for 27. It's hard to believe after what we saw last month.
Well, you can't stay hot forever. Even the good ones go in slumps.
Well, you stayed hot for long periods of time.
Well, I had my dry spells too, though.
You know, DiMaggio in his 56-game hitting streak, that is 408 in those 56 games.
Amazing. I can honestly say I never had a 400 month in my career.
I don't think anybody can say that with.
In 79, I led league in hitting. I had 2 months where I hit over 380.
Ted Williams that year hit 401 for the year, and he's the last guy to do that. And he didn't get the MVP. Williams didn't get it. DiMaggio got it.
That's amazing. You hit 406 and you don't get the MVP.
That's hard to believe.
Drive in how many 100 and what something runs and how many home runs.
And the last day of the season, he was in a doubleheader and got 6 hits and 8 at bats to go 406.
James Loney is 1 for 3. Well, he was what, 3.996 going into the last day.
They said, do you want to sit out this thing because you get credit for 400 with the decimal point that way? And he said, not me. I'm going to play. And he got 6 hits.
So the last man to hit 400. That's 70 years ago now. Loney hits one out to right center field, and Hairston comes in to grab it. 1 away. Now Clayton Kershaw left after 6 2/3, and then watch Kenley Jansen get the final out in the 7th. He looks happy.
Well, there's going to be a Willie Kershaw in the paper tomorrow.
Provided the Dodger bullpen, which has struggled this year, gets 6 more outs for him. The Dodgers are without their closer, Jonathan Broxton, who went on the disabled list right as this series began with an elbow injury. So Vicente Padilla has been their closer. Here's Jerry Sands, who's been on base 3 straight times with 2 hits and a walk. R.A. Dickey went 7 innings, allowed 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 10 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a hit batsman, and the 2-run homer by Andre Ethier that stretched the Dodger lead in the 7th. Davis back for a look, but he runs out of room, and it's 1-1.
Well, Connor is not overpowering, but he gives you that big shoulder lift when he throws home and hides the ball well.
Matt Guerrier up again in the Dodger bullpen. He did not look sharp last night.
Watch his front shoulder when he throws, folks, and he just really gives it real way up in the air.
Another chance for Hairston in right field. And he retires Sands. 2 away. Chris Carlin is standing by. Let's check in for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. See, Ralph, this time it was Chris who jinxed the no-hitter.
Okay.
Wasn't us.
And he's not even here.
Here's Rod Barajas with 2 out and nobody on. Barajas drove in a run on a ground ball in the 4th, but he's 0 for 3.
So watch him get down low, too. He bends his legs down. He's a big, tall drink of water, gets down low with a bend, and that big shoulder up in the air. That hides the ball to the hitter.
Well, he's no Jerry Kuzman. Kuzman would get the knee on the ground.
Seaver, too.
And Seaver also, right.
O'Connor last night made his first big league appearance since 2008 with Washington. 2006 he started 20 games for the Nats. Hooked down the left field line by Barajas, and that goes foul. 1-2.
You know, getting back to that thing about RBIs and RBI, Gary had an idea the foul ball is called a foul ball, although it's a fair ball situation. You got to change that to fair ball, right?
If you do that, what else do you have to do?
What about the foul line?
Exactly. Got to call them the fair lines, all right?
You got to call them fair lines.
Barajas down on the changeup by O'Connor. Good 1-2-3 inning for Mike. And we say so long to Ralph Connor. Ralph, thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you. Hope to see you soon again.
You can keep your name on the door, right?
Right. I think it's on there. I got to get it done.
Field in BJ's Clubhouse. Tickets start at $10 for kids and $20 for adults, plus Mr. Met visits every game. Call 718-507-TIXX or visit Mets.com now. Tony Gwynn takes over in left field as we go to the bottom of the 8th. He'll bat 9th. And on to pitch and bat 7th, the former Minnesota Twin Matt Guerrier.
Well, didn't have a good outing last night. As you can see, though, he's been pretty good so far this year for the Dodgers. I always love these stats. Has tossed scoreless relief in 13 of his 15 appearances this season. Well, he's got a 371 earned run average, so those other 2 times he must have got his lunch.
Ronnie Paulino will lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th. He's 2 for 3 today. And he lays off, takes a strike from Guerrier, 0-1. Guerrier faced 3 batters last night. He walked Paulino, gave up the 2-run hit to Turner that was the game-winning blow, and then a line drive double play. So he didn't fool anybody last night. And Paulino lifts this one out to right field, and Ethier is there in the sunshine for the first out. And now Ike Davis. Ike has gone 0 for 3 today. Gets to face a right-hander for the first time this afternoon. As Clayton Kershaw pretty much dominated Ike's afternoon. Kershaw went 6 2/3, allowed 1 run, 6 hits, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. Stands to win his 4th game of the year if the Dodgers bullpen can get 5 more outs. And the breaking ball down to Davis, 1-0. And Davis hits one out to right center. Kemp closing ground, and he gets there for the 2nd out. I don't know about you, Keith, but I love sitting here and listening to Ralph talk about hitting.
I do, and you know, Ralph's got some interesting ideas too, interesting concepts. You know, he's a Hall of Famer. Who's to argue? And interesting.
Well, I think the arguments are fascinating, especially when you know you and he
had.
Well, but you guys had very different approaches to hitting,
Right.
and it's fascinating to listen to the different theories about what works and what doesn't. Here's Willie Harris to bat for Scott Hairston in a lefty-righty switch.
I would never argue with Ralph,
but you might discuss.
Yes. I would defer to his judgment.
0-2 to Harris, who's had a really rough go of it since the very first week of the season. A good start. Got some time in left field early on with Jason Bay out, but it has not gone well for Willie over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Been getting in trouble with that pitch upstairs. He's a low ball hitter, and he's having trouble with the breaking ball, and there you see it.
Guerrier strikes him out on 3 pitches, and so we're through 8 at Citi Field with the Dodgers up 4-1. Coverage of today's Mets-Dodgers finale, plus lots more, including Phil Jackson's final game, all starting tonight at 10:30 on Geico Sports Night on SNY. Tony Gwynn Jr. leads off in the 9th inning against Mike O'Connor and takes a strike. O'Connor came on in the 8th, pitched a 1-2-3 inning. Gwynn came on in a double switch in the last inning. He's come off the bench in all 3 games of this series. Willie Harris, who pinch hits, stays in the game in right field. And Gwynn takes a strike, and it's 0-2. And there is Vicente Padilla, the closer of the moment for the Dodgers. O'Connor misses outside, 1-2. Mike O'Connor's now faced 5 batters as a Met, retired them all, 2 last night, 3 today, and staying on for a second inning, and there's nobody up in the Mets bullpen. And a slow ground ball. Justin Turner waits on it and throws out Gwynn, 1 away. Let's check in with the guys in the studio, see what's coming up on Lincoln Post Game Live.
You know, Gare, I just love the way Bobby just teases the fan base. You know, they changed his game plan. We'll talk more about it later.
It's like tickling you with a feather.
He's very sadistic. It's very Spanish of him.
Jamie Carroll has 3 hits today and 7 in 11 at bats in this series. So the 37-year-old Carroll filling in for the injured Rafael Furcal, having himself a nice trip to New York. Skipping out of the way, and it's 1-1. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, the Mets will have 8, 9, and 1 in the order coming up. Pridey, the pitcher's spot, and Reyes. Mets still have Beltran, Murphy, and Tolley available on the bench. And Carroll gets jammed, and it misses 2-1. Aaron Miles waits on deck. That's finishing up a homestand. If they were to lose this game, they'd finish 3-3 on the homestand. Dropped 2 out of 3 to the Giants, took the first 2 from LA, and now they head out to Colorado and Houston. Play 2 teams that are struggling right now. The Rockies, as Kevin mentioned earlier, have lost 3 straight games in walk-off fashion yesterday to the Giants, and they'll play in San Francisco again today before heading home to face the Mets tomorrow night. As for the Astros, they've been languishing at the bottom of that National League Central through the first 6 weeks of the season.
Well, their big first baseman Wallace has been having a bit on a tear. He was here. He didn't hit very well, but boy, he's caught on fire.
And Carroll fouls another one out of play.
Drop.
Mike O'Connor out of George Washington University. Not too many colonials kicking around in the major leagues. That was a challenge to our stat guy. See what he can come up with. And Carroll pops one up. This one should stay in play. Ike Davis calling, called off by Turner, who caught it in fair territory for the second out. So O'Connor making quite an impression since being called up.
Throwing strikes. And matter what outcome of the game today, whether it goes, unless it goes into extra innings and the Mets come back, whether they win or lose, the bullpen did get rested today. Having some fun in that dugout. Matt Kemp and Rod Barajas.
I think he was teasing Kemp about that knuckleball that he chased for the double play, talking about how that ball moved away on him. You can laugh when you're winning.
Of course.
Dodgers haven't been doing much of that lately. And Miles now in an 0-2 hole. See, our stat guy's the best. You know what he came up with? George Washington University, other than Mike O'Connor. John Flaherty.
Sammy Perlaza
Does great work across town. And Sam Perlaza, former Met third base coach, now coaching first for the Phillies. Swing and a foul tip. That's held by Polino to end the inning. So 6 up and 6 down for Mike O'Connor. Now Vicente Padilla will come on and try to close it for the Dodgers. Weather-wise, not so sparkling for the Mets so far. Looking for their 4th straight win, but trailing 4-1 going to the bottom of the 9th, and the veteran Vicente Padilla called upon to close these days for LA.
Well, most of his career as a starter and taking over for the disabled Jonathan Broxton.
Jason Pridey leads off in the last of the 9th. Pridey is 0 for 2 and a walk today. Daniel Murphy has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher, and then Jose Reyes here in the last of the 9th. The Mets have had just a run on 6 hits today against Clayton Kershaw and 2 relievers. And Pridey fouls it back. It's 0-2. Padilla began the year on the disabled list. He had forearm surgery during spring training, missed the first 20 games. Did not make his season debut till the 23rd of April. He has only 3 career saves, including his one this year. 104 big league wins.
Won 14 games 2 years in a row as a starter for Philadelphia in 2002 and 3, and then moved on to Texas in 06, won 15, and 08 won 14. So he's had a nice little career for himself.
He's had to work around some injuries the last couple of years. Last year made 16 starts for the Dodgers, went 6-5. Had some pretty gaudy numbers last year. 95 innings, only 79 hits allowed. He's always been a guy who will give up the home run ball, but here working with a 3-run lead.
He's also a headhunter too sometimes.
And Pridey pops one up into shallow right, and on comes Ethier to call, and that's the first out. So Pridey is retired, and now Daniel Murphy will bat as a pinch hitter. Mets are in Colorado tomorrow night with Chris Capuano making the start against a very talented young right-hander, Jhoulys Chacín, for the Rockies. We didn't see him in the series here in New York.
Murphy 2 for 12 as a pinch hitter with a home run and 2 RBI. A little bit of a slump right now, Daniel.
Went 1 for 3 and a sacrifice last night and chases a bad pitch. 0-1. Lance Cormier is up in the bullpen for the Dodgers just in case. Another veteran right-hander. And Murphy rips one over the glove of Loney into right field. They'll take a turn and hold on there as Ethier gets to it. And so Murphy with a pinch hit single. And now the Mets need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate.
Well, maybe that'll get Daniel going. Daniel is such a good pinch hitter.
So here's Reyes. Jose is 1 for 4 at a base hit to center field his last time up. And you have to figure that if Reyes gets on, the Mets would have Beltran back for Turner. And in fact, Carlos has already come out on deck. So the plan here is a bloop and a blast to get the Mets even. Reyes 6 for 13 in this series. He has been swinging the bat awfully well. And Jose, first pitch swinging, fouls back the fastball.
Up and in fastball, 93 mile an hour. He put something extra on that one.
Mets have seen enough of Padilla over the years that Reyes has 18 career at bats against him, 5 for 18, including a home run. A 33-year-old right-hander from Nicaragua who studied under the great Dennis Martinez growing up. At the feet of Reyes, he skips out of the way. Been better off getting hit by that pitch. 1-1.
Almost got his back foot.
Yeah, get that back foot in the way, get on base, get that tying run to bat. It's like Josh Thole the game earlier this week with the bases loaded. Got out of the way of a pitch and then hit to a double play. 2-1 now to Jose. Beltran sitting out for the first time in more than 3 weeks. Looking forward to a pinch hitting at bat. Now it's 2-1 on Reyes. And there's a strike. 2-2. 94 from Padilla. So that takes away the bunt possibility. So Uribe, the third baseman, can back up. It's 2-2 to Reyes. And Jose cracks one to right center field. That's going to go up the gap and all the way to the wall. Murphy races for third. He'll turn and head home. Reyes is on his way to third base. He has his fourth triple in the last 4 games. It's 4-2, and the Mets will get the tying run to bat here in the ninth.
Well, Reyes just, you cannot make mistakes off Jose right now. He is so hot, swinging the bat so well. No hesitation from Murphy. Better hurry up, but here comes Reyes. I said from the beginning, Gary, in his first year at this park, that if Jose's healthy, he'll hit 20 triples plus.
Well, he has 4 in the last 4 games, 6 for the year. Now Beltran is the tying run to bat for Turner. It's 4-2. Padilla out of the full windup. And Beltran takes up and away for ball 1.
We'll do the IoT TV pitch differential right down Broadway. Split the plate in half.
Beltran's been red hot with the bat. Over the course of his career, Beltran has struggled as a pinch hitter, just 5 for 26 with 1 pinch hit home run, 1 for 3 this year. David Wright on deck. You see the numbers. Carlos 1 for 3 yesterday. He's hit in 7 straight games. Padilla behind him 2-0. And he hits one in the air to shallow right. Ethier coming on. Reyes tags. And he will not come down the line. That run is meaningless. And so he's not going to take any chances. That's the second out. And now the Mets are down to their final out with David Wright coming up as the tying run.
Just a good pitch for Beltran to hit, and he had a good cut. He just got under it.
David has walked twice today, otherwise 0 for 2, just 1 for 8 in this series. Reyes at third with 2 down. Mets have a run home in the 9th, but they're 2 runs shy as Padilla looks to secure it for Clayton Kershaw and get the Dodgers out of town with a win.
You better keep the ball away here. Big part of the ballpark is to right field. And you see the defense right now, slight shade to the opposite field, and they're guarding the lines of the corner infielders.
David is 3 for 12 in his career against Padilla. Threw the fastball by him, and it's 1-1.
Boy, I'll say he did. Just don't understand what David is. All of a sudden, the guys are throwing balls by him. It just shouldn't be. But at his age, it's not that he's like 34 years old on the backside of his prime.
1-1 from Padilla. And he dents the outside edge, and it's 1-2. 96 from Vicente Padilla. And now the Mets are down to their final strike. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Vicente Padilla strikes out David Wright to end it. He saves it for Clayton Kershaw, and the Dodgers salvage the finale of the 3-game set and snap the Mets' 3-game winning streak as the Mets finish with a 3-3 homestand.
Well, too much Clayton Kershaw. Second save for that man right there, Padilla. The big blow was Andre Ethier, who had his 30-game hitting streak snapped last night. He hits the 2-run blast off of Dickey in the 7th. That was a difference in the ball game. 4-2 final. Mets take 2 out of 3 and finish a 3-3 homestand game.
So the Dodgers snap their 4-game losing streak, and the Mets will head out to Colorado after winning 2 out of 3 from LA. But it's the Dodgers day today as Clayton Kershaw picks up his 4th victory of the season. As we take a look at the Chase game summary, R.A. Dickey suffers the loss, going 7 but giving up 4 runs, 3 earned on 10 hits. Dodgers win 4-2. Back with more from Citi Field in a moment.